Hi, everyone, and welcome to this very special Halloween edition of your U.S. History Weekly launch. So the first thing I want to start doing is going over practicing setting goals each week. So the goals of my launch this week are to go over the class progress, to give some shout outs, to again discuss the attendance policy, to talk about grading and the progress reports you're about to receive, and also give you some tips and some helpful advice on how to do better in the summit. So first of all, the American History Mythbusters project was due on October 17th. So that's almost 2 weeks past due. Tomorrow will be 2 weeks. And only 4 of 11 of you have submitted that. So if you want my feedback, you need to submit that by this Friday, 11/3. So all of you who are behind on checkpoints, I've given you guys, this will be about 3 weeks late at that point. I'm going to be ready to move on at that point. So if you do not submit by 11/3, I will not be providing any more feedback on that project. So if you want help and you need to start it soon in order to get my help. Otherwise, you're going to have to go back and watch the launches and get help that way. So if you actually want me to comment and provide feedback on the checkpoints, you need to submit them by Friday, November 3rd. So Jack Skellington looks a little bit perplexed here, and I don't know, maybe it's because he understands that the projects are worth 70% of the grade in the Summit platform. So I know that's a scary thought, but it's best to get working now. So this week's shout outs, I want to give a shout out to Madison, Christian, and Anna for submitting the final product of the first project. So good job, guys. Also a shout out to Haley for her hard work last week. She got working, submitted a lot of good quality work, passed some content assessments. So keep up the good work. Attendance. In order to get perfect attendance each week, you need to continue to watch these weekly instructional launches, which is what you're doing now. Submit work on 5 days a week or end the week on PACE. So again, you need to be looking at the PACE chart that is in the Google Classroom on the About page, because that is how I determine what our PACE is. So it's not necessarily the Summit blue line that I'm looking for, it's the PACE chart. So you should be following along with these launches and submitting the assignments that I'm posting on here every week. So how can you show you're working? You can submit diagnostic assessments, you can take the content assessments, submit project checkpoints, and the most important one is to set goals. Progress reports on October 26th, which was last Thursday, that was the end of our first marking period. So what is going to happen is we are going to go in and we basically took a snapshot of what your progress screen, the screen here, looked like on October 26th. So any work you did over the weekend or today or whatever is not going to be included in that. So when you do receive your first progress report, keep in mind that it was whatever was submitted by October 26th. So if yours looks like this picture here, you're in pretty good shape because there's no red. So that means that everything's green. It means that you've completed those on time and that you are on pace according to the blue line down the middle. So just making sure you're also paying attention. So that it looks like this English project is due very, very, very soon. So probably in the next couple days. So you want to make sure that this person would be completing that. Also trying to do any additional focus areas. When it comes time for your grade, if you're somebody that's interested in getting the highest possible grade of an A+, if you do not do these additional focus areas, you cannot receive an A+. You can still get an A, but I challenge you to push yourself and try to get the highest possible grade. If you receive a progress report that looks like this, this would tell you, and I'm sure you're aware, that you're behind. It looks like this person has not completed many focus areas. And it looks like two of the projects are past due, and they did not submit it yet. They did submit a science project, so that's good. So these are just all things that we would be commenting on. Again, we do not take an average of all 4 quarters at this school, but this is just to tell you if the year ended today, here's what your grade would be. So we provide these throughout the year at 8 different times so that you have the time to make corrections, to reach out for help, and to make a change before so you're not surprised at the end of the year. So a lot of you I know are taking content assessments sometimes 7, 8 times. I just want to make sure you guys are doing it in the best possible way and following the order. So the first thing you want to do is take that diagnostic assessment. And the word diagnostic is basically that's going to outline what's wrong, basically. If you go to the doctor and they do a diagnostic, or you go and you get your car treated and they're going to do a diagnostic test, it's finding out what is wrong or what needs work. So you would be going in and take the diagnostic assessment. It's going to tell you which areas you did not do well in, and then those are the areas that you should be focusing on when you're going through the playlist. So that brings us to the next step. It does not mean take a diagnostic and immediately jump and take the content assessment. I guarantee you, you will fail if you don't try to at least learn something in that playlist. So the playlist is there, broken down by objective, for you to go in and find which areas you need the most help with and better prepare for that content assessment. So then the final one would be to take the content assessment. So again, some advice for the focus areas. Make sure you're reading the lesson objectives. That's going to tell you exactly what you should be learning for that focus area, and also writing down the key terms. So just to go into Summit, okay, and I'm going to view as a student. So I always use Dylan for whatever reason. Okay, so if we were to go into the year view and look at this new focus area coming up, so we haven't tried it at all yet. You click on the focus area, this right here, read the description. By completing this playlist, you will learn to define and identify the functions of commas, ellipses, and dashes. Also to use commas, ellipses, and dashes in writing. If you do not feel that you can do that yet, do not even attempt to take the content assessment. That's just a waste of time. It's telling you you're going to fail. So what you're going to do is go through this playlist here until you are able to do everything that's outlined for you in these objectives. And then also, if you should be taking notes, if you're going to be really successful, you should be writing down these 4 words and then going through here and finding the definitions, or even Googling for the definitions. So to go back at, I'm going to look at an old diagnostic. So let's say, so in this diagnostic assessment, I forget, it will pop up whenever you take it, but it'll basically tell you, it'll look very similar to this. It'll tell you, you got 2 out of 5 right, or whatever. And you want to look at these objectives, because this is what's telling you what you need to study to do better. So this person explained the ideals of Thomas Jefferson's Declaration of Independence. He got a 3 out of 3. So there's no need to go in and learn that more. He already proved that he knows that. He also proved that he knows why the United States has a government that is representative and how it differs from a direct democracy. So there's no need for him to go back and learn that material. What he does need to spend more time on in the playlist is how the revolution affected other nations, especially France, and how new ideas such as the Enlightenment shaped the American identity. So he's going to want to go through, so here it is, how the Enlightenment shaped American identity and eventually led to revolt. He's going to want to learn these and maybe do the check for understanding, because that is an area that he showed he did not know entirely. Also, he wants to go to how the American Revolution affected other nations. So he would want to focus on these as well. And then when you feel like you're absolutely ready and you feel like you can actually do all of the things that are outlined right here, then you can request that content assessment, and I guarantee you will be more successful. All right, so for week 10, November 1st to November 7th, according to the PACE chart, you should have completed the Revolutionary America Focus Area, as well as the American History Mythbusters project. Again, if you have not submitted the project yet and you want my feedback for help, you need to do that by Friday, November 3rd, because I'm not going to provide the help after that. The U.S. Constitution Focus Area is due tomorrow, 10/31. And you should also be trying to start the Constitutional Convention project if you're somebody that's ready to do that. So if you need help, please reach out. Again, we want to go back. I outlined the goals for myself at the beginning of this launch, so you should go back and recap. We did the class progress. We gave our shout outs. We went over the attendance. We went over grading and progress monitoring. And we also have a couple tips for you. So that means that we accomplished this goal. And I strongly suggest you guys do this at the beginning of every day or every week. Maybe outline your goals on paper. There's something really nice about being able to cross off something from a list and say that you did it. So if you set some goals, you will be more successful. But please have a good week. Reach out to me if you need help, and I will talk to you guys next week.